I'd like to just take it back real quick because I know we were talking a little bit offline, but just for our audience, when you talk about becoming a part of the DNA of the company that you serve, for you guys, what does that actually mean? What are you actually doing when you say becoming part of the DNA?
If you think about the body, there are toes and there are eyes and there are ears, there's hair, there's fingernails. What we like to do is when we look at a corporation, no matter what it is that we want to be able to go in and serve, we figure out what part of their body that we are experts in, and we then become that part so that we are incorporated into their overall holistic approach to doing business. Mm-hmm. If they figure out that they can't live without a foot and we become the foot, then we've accomplished something and that we are necessary to that client from here on out. We're partners with them. We're not just taking their money and providing something. We are becoming part of who they are. And as they grow, we're growing with them.
That's really good.
And that's what most people in the B2B sector don't do. They try to become part of people's lives in the B2C sector through advertising or passion or whatever that people, but in the B2B sector, you don't see it as often.
Yeah.
And I think it's really missed, but I think it is super important to a long-term, vital relationship with the companies that you do business with.
Yeah, particularly because if you go at it with the approach that you're going at it with, you become the foot, but then there's also opportunity for you to become the fingernail a year down the road. If you're approaching the relationship in that manner, because you're not saying, hey, all we do is we're only the foot. We actually have.
You're right. And what's really cool about it is it makes your company become innovative. Mm-hmm. If you walk in there and you're just going to sell pencils and then they saturate themselves with pencils and the next year they decide they want magic markers and you go, we only sell pencils, then you've missed an opportunity to be innovative.
Yeah.
And I see it all the time in the B2B world. And if you're in a company and that's the way you are just structured, we only sell pencils, so I can't help you, mm-hmm. then I would encourage you to go to your leadership and say, I'd like to see some innovation in this place.
Yeah.
Because you know what? This company needs, fingernails now. And that's the only way that you're going to be able to grow as a company and stay in a prominent position of service to the company that you're part of.
That's good. Carol, can you share some more? That example you shared earlier was really good. I think having a few more examples will be helpful for our audience. Can you share some ways that you guys have done this with, maybe with some other clients that you've approached and have ended up ultimately done business with?
One thing that's real important to us is our culture is we are a company that gives it forward. So 10% of our profit is gifted to people that are in need. So one of our clients in Memphis, Tennessee, it was in need of some particular lighting for a particular type of project. And there was nothing available to them in the LED space that would meet their specific need. So we went in and listened to it, and we designed then a full range of products that met specifically the need that they had. And it wasn't something that they could go to one of the big, large LED lighting companies to do because they were too large to manipulate what we needed to accomplish for them. And then in turn, what we would do is then go into that same community where their home office is and give the gift of light to a homeless shelter there so that we tick off 2 boxes for our company that we've served. One, we've met a need that nobody could meet because we listened to them and we heard what they needed. And 2, then we were able to bring them into sort of our world of responsibility that we think is part of our DNA by giving back to a local charity in their space that then they can get credit for and have a real impact on the community where they sit. So that's exciting because they're like, oh, wow, that was a really great thing. It meant a lot to the people that work for us and so forth. Another example of that is Atlanta's Hartsfield Airport had 4-foot fluorescent tubes up in the underground where the trains go. Well, every time the trains would go by, these fluorescent tubes would go out. So it was a really big problem for them because their maintenance team was spending hours and hours and hours and costing so much money to change them out. So we created an LED replacement that we tweaked the way that the product was built so that when the trains went by, the vibration wouldn't cause it to dislodge. And they wouldn't have to change out this light bulb for 5 years. But until we sat down and we listened to what they needed, we would have never known that we could solve this problem for them.
Yeah.
And then the next time they have an LED project or a lighting project, you know who they're calling? Us.
Yep.